Hey YouTube land, just Jax here, and I am at a special location and currently right in the sun. Let's see if we can fix that real quick. That might be a little better. Hey y'all, um, I was in this around area about 8 months ago to the day, making a video that I just watched again for probably only the second time. At that time, I was really depressed. I was really upset. I was having problems with my gender dysphoria because I was pre-T still. Um, and a lot of things were going on, and so I was having a really hard time, and some friends of mine in the online community convinced me to make the video that I was not gonna, just mentally couldn't make myself make. So that's kind of where I'm at again today, in a different regard. And what it is that's going on right now is that I have a confession to make. And it might not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but it's a big deal to me, especially since I've put it off. I know it's a big deal to me. So that's what I'm talking about today. When I started the channel for my transition, I made it aware that the videos were unedited and the videos were unwatched by me before I put them online. And sometimes it takes me a few days after I post them to even watch them. And there might be a video too that I haven't watched. And there was a reason for that, because I wanted it to be unfiltered. I wanted it to be unedited. I wanted it to be raw and real. Because that's who I am. In the last probably 2 months, there have been a lot of videos I have started, I have stopped, and I have redone. There are some videos I have started, I have stopped, and I haven't completed. And that's been a big deal to me. Like I said, it just changed how I was doing this, and it was a change that I didn't want to be in. And it might have been in the last 3 months. Because over the last month, I have, just in October, starting around the 5th, I believe, is when I started my new bipolar medication. And just in the last few days, I feel like it's helping, which is a big deal. And one of the things with my bipolar is my manic thoughts, my racing thoughts. And that's why a lot of my videos get off track. They end up being 20 minutes. I talk too long about what I'm talking about. And it was so bad, it was bothering me while I was making a video. Like, I would realize, I'm like, well, how in the hell did I get here? And so I would stop the video and sometimes start all over. And sometimes I'd start and write out an outline and try to stay on those points and get mad if I didn't and stop the video again and make it again. Or I would not make the video altogether. I would just walk away from my desk. And so I've been putting off the making this video, just being honest about that. And I was like, there's somewhere I need to go to make this video. And this is where I am. I'm back to the place I was 8 months ago, when I was still pre-T, when I was still, my biggest problem was just starting my transition physically. My name had already been changed, and that was it. And in that video, I talked about, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be done by the time I was 40. At that time, I still had 3 big check marks left on that list. My transition list was only 4. I had my name changed. The next I wanted to do was start testosterone, because I wanted testosterone or top surgery. If those were the only 2 things that I would ever get to do, I wanted one or the other. And honestly, I would pick top surgery over testosterone. And I was able to start testosterone in just a few weeks after that video. I had no idea when I made that video. I think one of the next videos is literally me getting the call about my testosterone being able to start. So then now then I was able to change my gender marker, because I was seeing a doctor who is my gyno, who literally saw the changes to my body from the testosterone and how I'm living. And she's like, your name has changed. We talked about top surgery. She's like, I will definitely sign the paperwork, because in Missouri, you just need a doctor that verifies that you are male. You're changing gender. You're changing for, you know, good reasons, and you don't, for the foreseeable future, they don't see you transitioning back. And she signed it for me in a heartbeat. And so I've changed my gender marker. The only thing left is my top surgery, which, you know, I have a long-term plan. And sorry, the sun is killing me right here. I picked a really bad spot. So the only thing that's left is my top surgery, and I have a year-long plan. I've talked to my mental health professionals, because my surgeon that I found, whom I still don't know if I'm going with because I have not met her or talked to her, which is part of the next step, needs mental and medical clearance from doctors. So the gyno is going to give me medical clearance. My GI has already given me medical clearance, and I want to be a little further along in my therapy for myself and have a savings started. I have a savings plan, and then get my savings started. And before I ask for the mental health checkup, and I want to be properly medicated for my bipolar, which I now am. Like I said, I've been on my bipolar medication since the 5th of October. He said within 2 weeks, if I didn't notice any improvement, I could increase it. I am deciding to wait 1 month. I don't want to give my body extra medication it might not need. So I want to talk to him November 5th and let him know what's going on and see what he thinks before I make that call. I don't feel I am the one that should make that call. My symptoms are not worsening, and there are some major improvements. The biggest one is sleep. I found out through him because through my medical history and my medication history, I have a lot of things for sleep. And he asked about those things for sleep. And I said, honestly, it's like they'll work one night, maybe two, and then I have to start going up in dose, and then eventually they quit working, so I switch methods, and that's probably why there's so many in there. And I said, to be honest, I have them listed in case I get hospitalized. A lot of hospitals, if you have a sleeping medication, won't give them to you after a certain time of day. I said, I'm up most of the night, and my trouble is getting used to a hospital sleep schedule, so I have like Benadryl and melatonin and stuff on my list in case they will let me take those so I can sleep on their schedule. And he said, which was really smart, he said, but for people, because he still wasn't sure about the bipolar diagnosis, he said, but for people with bipolar, sleeping medication doesn't work. He said, it's the bipolar that is keeping you awake. It's your racing thoughts, it's your racing brain. Your brain won't stop working to get your body to shut down enough for sleep. And so you need to get the bipolar and the mania under control to be able to sleep. It was like my entire life flashed before my eyes and made so much more sense. So he is in agreement to the 90th percentile that I am bipolar. And the more that I research on it, the more that I feel comfortable with that diagnosis. From the get-go, I was from the first doctor I talked to, from just her explanation in a roundabout way, was very convinced that I'm bipolar. My second therapist, she literally pulled out the book, and there was only one thing that was not checked off. And that's pretty much, in layman's terms, being overly cocky, overly grandiose about myself. And I'm like, that's the one thing that I'm lacking the most in my life. My most common sentence about myself from doing little mistakes is saying that I suck at life, which we've addressed in one of my therapy appointments after, and I'm getting better at. So it's more, I'm so self-deprecating over little things. So once again, this video is still going all over the place. I still have the same brain. It is still trying to, calm down and stay on one topic, and stay in the grand area of things. But for the first time in a long time, I sat down and did an artwork, and I didn't sit down and do it for 12 hours straight. I made myself stop. I made myself reevaluate it and come back to it. So that's a good thing. And in the last couple of days, my appetite has changed. I would say, oh gosh, probably at least the last 5 months. honestly, I have been eating the same meal at home for breakfast and dinner. And then at work, I go on kicks where I eat just about the same thing when I'm there. Part of that is convenience, and we don't really get an explained break because I probably would eat cheeseburgers more while I'm there. But I tend to either get just mozzarella sticks or just breadsticks, or if I know that we have a little bit more time, I will eat the same thing of pasta. And at home, I just eat this. I eat a couple of burritos of the same brand burritos. I make them the exact same way, eat them the exact same way every day. I have ordered food here and there while I'm at home. I've made a couple of meals. It's getting, like I said, since I've been on the bipolar medication, I've been buying more food to make and making more food. And in the last couple of days, haven't wanted a burrito, which is a really big deal. Like, even to go 24 hours without a burrito in the last 5 to 6 months has been a big deal. So I'm really, really feeling good about this medication. And I feel really good about where I'm going and where I'm headed. And to go back and see where I was the last time I stood in this spot, it's encouraging. It's helping me. It's making me feel better. It's making me... It's a humbling place to be at. Because what do you do when your biggest goals in life come true? Like, people worry about cars, people worry about houses, people worry about their careers. I just wanted to be myself. And I'm there. Like, I'm going to keep transitioning for the rest of my life, just like other people transition in their own bodies. They just aren't self-aware of it. They just, they'll see a picture of themselves in 5 years that was from today and be like, whoa, when did that hair change? When did my skin change? I'm doing the same thing. It's just a lot more public. It's a lot more self-awareness. And it is a bigger deal because I am becoming the gender that I've always been. So it's just now being patient with those things and sticking to my 1-year plan to hopefully stay with this surgeon and not have to travel out of state, which will cost me more money. Because if I can stay in state and this surgeon is what I need and I like what I see or hear from her, being able to stay in state 2 hours away is going to help a lot financially. So that's where I'm at. And so there is a very, very good possibility that this time next year I might be in the same spot talking about how my surgery's coming up. And I've never been one to understand happy tears, but I think this this is literally the definition of that. So there you go. Real, raw, unedited. But as in confessional standpoint, as per usual, I have stopped this video a few times, but I am in a public park and people have drove by. There was a train. There was people driving by with loud music. There was people that were trying to go to another part of the park. So I came back a little bit further into this little wooded area. So, true confessional, I did stop this video a couple of times, but it was for environmental reasons. And there was some big noise a while ago, and we're not going to talk about that because it is almost Halloween, and yeah. I'm out in the woods by myself, and I don't want this to be a Blair Witch movie, so I'm going to go. As always, thanks to everybody that watches these, that, those that are but those that I do know in real life or via social media that comment to me personally, the people that walk up to me and say something about my videos, that means the world to me. I pretty much, like I've said, I've done this for myself, to be honest with myself, because of my mania to sit down with a pen and paper and write out my thoughts. I did start that when I started my transition, and I had to stop. It didn't work for me. So this for me helps. And for this to help someone else, that humbles me, that it makes me feel good that someone else can get something from this too. And that's what this is all about. So here's my honesty, here's my confession, And I will, in the description, put the link to the video I'm talking about that was right here, so you can literally hear the difference and see the difference of what has happened in just a few short months. Once again, thanks YouTube land. Have a great day, and I will see you